G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Pierre, this is Simple Homebrew. I'm doing a Coopers Stout today, so if you're interested, stick around. So what we've got is our Coopers Stout. It's a extract, and I'm doing a dry malt, some dry malt extract as an addition to the brew, so that we get a better mouth feel, a bit of softness in your tongue and everything else, as well as using this. Basically, it should come out just nice, just as a normal basic stout. I don't want to make it woody, I don't want to make it hoppy, I just want to make it normal. What Coopers state on the can, it's deep roasted colour, coffee, chocolate and grain aromas, malt tannins, velvety mouthfeel, persistent creamy head and a bitter dry finish. Exactly what I like in a stout. The only problem I've got is I'm using their brewing yeast, which a lot of the time it's not overly recommended to do that. The reason is it's a generic yeast. It'll add to flavours. What I'm going to do is add an extra packet of their yeast just to get it a bit more of a head start and get going. And I had that spare sitting in the fridge from a brew I just did recently. So that's the two going into the one can with the malt extract. Now I'm going to get into it. So what we do normally is dissolve a kilogram of dextrose to add some sugars and add the extract to it. But today I'm going to do a dry malt extract, which gives a bit more malt in the brew. Hopefully it will taste really good. I've got a pot here. This is my pot that I've been using since I started brewing. I actually bought this on eBay. It's a thin material stainless steel. It works a treat. It's been great for me. Not great for boiling. It's too thin in the material, but it does this really well. Now, you have to remember, I'm actually going to add this into my Apollo fermenter, which is kindly supplied by King, and it will melt if I put 100 degrees Celsius water in it. Right now, the first thing I'm going to do is boil my water. It's about 2 litres of water I'm going to use to heat up my extract so it softens it, and another 2 litres is going into the pot to dissolve my dry malt extract. So once I'm done, I'll come back. You new extract brewers who are just starting out, I just thought I'd let you know a little bit about these cans. Coopers is great. They have all the instructions in the label, so you can pop the lid off. I've popped that off before. What you do is you pop your yeast off, grab your can, and if you want to have the instructions, on the side of a can there's a little tag here. You just roughly, violently, extremely uncarefully peel it off. It's quite easy actually, it's coming off pretty simply. And in the back label there are full instructions on how to actually brew this beer. Now I've done this so many times before, I'm not going to use it. But you can, no problem with that at all. It'll get you the best results. There's something I need to do. I made a beer. It was a stout probably about 8 months ago now. It's been sitting in my fridge in bottles. I put 1 teaspoon of sugar in it to keep the carbonation down, and this is it. It's been there for quite some time, aging, has got a little bit of carbonation in it, which is great. Of course, stouts should not be highly carbonated. It has a fair bit, even though I did this 6 months ago and I only put 1 teaspoon of sugar in it. Look at the carbonation. Oh, geez. I'm going to have to settle that down a bit. So it's a bit carbonated. I will let that settle, and I'll let you know how it tastes. All right, we'll wait for that to settle. Sorry about this. I was going to show you a beer I made a while back. I didn't realise it was going to pour that way. So give it some time. Let it settle. I'll top her up, and we'll do a bit of a tasting on it. But for now, I've got some advice for you. I have a fully sanitised pot here and some malt extract, dry malt extract, DME. I want to dissolve it before I put my extract in, my normal extract. So what we do is we put this in first before we put the hot water in. It stops coagulation of the powder because steam rises and will clog all this up with the powder you're dropping in, and you'll waste probably 100 grams maybe sometimes if you have too much. But this is how you do it. Throw it on top of the sanitizer that's already in there. There's not much, it's just a little bit left over. By the way, sanitizer is very good for yeast. Yeast thrive on it, especially Stalasan no rinse sanitizer. What I forgot to grab was my spoon. Now I'll use a plastic spoon because steel spoons tend to scratch, and I prefer not to let that happen. The water is 100 degrees Celsius, but this spoon has been sitting up on the shelf for quite a few weeks, and I just thought give it a quick spray of sanitizer anyway before I start, and we will just stir this until it's fully dissolved. I'll tell you what, it's very malty and it kind of fogs up your glasses. Right, that looks pretty much fully dissolved. And it's been about 15 minutes, I would say, since the water's been, since the extract's been put on hot water. I'm going to open it. I think it's going to be soft enough. I'll just grab a opener. I just use a normal hand opener. I did have an electric one. Used to drive people nuts, so I don't use it anymore. Used to drive me nuts, to be honest. We'll grab out our extract, which is the stout. And that, like I said, it's been there for about 15 minutes sitting aside. It should be warm, so it slips into the stirring pot easily and hopefully works a treat. All right, pop that down. Like I said, all this water is 100 degrees Celsius, so just be really careful. All right, this says best before 26th of the 11th, 23, which means the 26th day of the 11th month, 23 for you Americans. I do like this can opener. It does open everything up on the edge, so we never have to really worry about anything. But not this time. Son of a... I missed something here somewhere. Alright, it's highly likely I was doing the wrong end and the lip wasn't very strong, so what are you going to do? So, oh, look, it hasn't really cut it this time round. Don't know what's going on here. Oh, geez, smell that. Oh, sorry, you can't. Alright, look at that darkness. Got it on my fingers. I gotta taste it. Oh, it's not. It actually tastes like blood. No, I'm joking. Alright, we'll throw that in. This is actually quite warm. Probably not as hot as, some, but it pours nicely, as you can see. It's coming out pretty good. I'll use a spoon just to pull out the rest of it. And just be aware, we need to fill up our fermenter with cold water first before pouring this into the fermenter. So I will rinse this cup out using cold water while I'm filling up the fermenter. Which will help me extract most of the goodness out of there. Look at that. Wonderful. That's a lot left over, but that will rinse out. What I might do is actually add a bit of water to this to thin it out a little bit so it's easier to pour. Hope you can see what's going on there. I do need to add a Camden tablet in as well, because the Camden tablet will soak up all the extra disinfectant additives that they put in the town water. I just want to warn you, this is a poison. It's not something you just put in your mouth or lick. Try not to get on your mouth. I did something stupid one day. I wanted to know what it tastes like, so I licked it. Didn't make me sick, but someone told me it's very poisonous. Don't do it. Drop that in. That will dissolve into the fluid. What it does is it reacts with the chlorine and chloramine that the town's water gets puts in, and neutralizes your chlorine and chloramine. Helps a treat, and it helps your water, so you get a really good result when your beer's ready to drink. I'm not going to put too much in. The reason why is I'm not sure how much water I'm putting in. So I need 23 litres. So I'll just keep that a bit of a rinse while I'm here. That's cooled it off a fair bit too. Actually, I might do a little bit more to help cool it down. Now what I'll do now is I'll just pop my lid on, which has sanitized, which it has to be sanitized now because the water has dropped in temperature. Just throw that on there. You probably can't see that, but I've just sanitized the lid. I'll just pop that there so no dust can get in and nothing bad can get in the short period I'm going to have it sitting there. Now I need to get my fermenter ready. My fermenter is an Apollo, this one here. As you can see, it's in a bag. I will open it up. Give you guys a bit of a look at it. Just to show you what I'm working with. That's my Apollo fermenter. I don't want to take it right out of the bag. It is full of sanitizer at the moment, so I'm going to quickly shake it up. So everything inside it gets sanitized. You won't see me do that. I'll come back to you when I'm done. So we have now got our fermenter, which is our Apollo, which still has the foam from the sanitizer in it. Now the foam from the sanitizer will not harm your beer. It will help with the yeast growth. It acts like a yeast nutrient, which I don't have at the moment. But with these kits here, they actually provide nutrient with the yeast in the packs. So don't stress, you don't need the yeast nutrient if you don't want to do it. If you are using other kinds of yeast, yes, you probably will need some yeast nutrient to help the yeast grow quicker and stronger. And this is going to be fermented at a low temperature as well. It does say on it, I can ferment it at 20 degrees Celsius, which I don't want to. When it ferments slower, at a lower temperature and slower, it tends not to produce as many bad after flavours and aftertastes. I'll pop that in my hot water jug that I have sitting over here. I've got a funnel that I have just been using to pour my sanitizer out with. This is cool enough to pour. So we'll now grab this little beauty. I'll just make sure it's stirred properly. I just saw a few chunks on the bottom of that. Let's see. Yeah, just get that dissolved better. Now we are adding oxygen to this as we're stirring it. All right, grab our pot. We'll pour it in. Now, luckily I didn't fill it up because I forgot that these can be very heavy. I know usually I'm very clumsy at doing this, but I'm getting better at this stuff, I can tell you. Right, that's the first bit there. So we've got some stuff stuck on the bottom of that. I will rinse it a little bit more, and you can see the Camden tablet hasn't dissolved yet. So that's up to... At the moment, it's on 10 litres. It's up to 10 litres. So now I'll fill this up with another 10 litres. What's that got on 15? And in turn, I'm rinsing it at the same time. I'll quickly stir that in. It's going to need a bit of love, that one. Just to get that off the bottom. Bugger, I didn't expect that. If you can see what's happening here, it's actually stuck on the bottom. And I don't want to waste anything. But that'll be alright. Put that in the hot water. Pour that in. Put that aside, and that one. I have to rinse this out. I still need to get all the extract out, and I need to be careful how much I put in. So I had 15 litres left on the dial on this system. I'm at about 3 litres used now. Like I said, we need to get to 23 litres. Right there, Luke. Alright, I got a bit of water over it, as you can tell. I'll just wipe off the excess water from the bag. Not a need, but I'll pop this open for you, just show you what we're looking at here. This is our whole stout, ready to go. Everything's in it that I need. I'll quickly take a sip of my stout, which is looking exceptional. Look, that's a really nice looking beer. And the smell is good. Oh, cheers, guys. Nice beer. Okay. I'm going to add the yeast in now. The thing is, I've got to temperature control this. Now, we're just coming close to the end of our winter, and I still need to keep this at a temperature, and it's going to be below 16 degrees in here every day, so that's going to be ideal. The label, not the label, the brewing yeasts on the packets usually say what to ferment at, what temperature to ferment at, but it doesn't on that one. It says here, fill the bottles, prime, blah, 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 bottling, brewing, mix, leave to ferment for 6 days at 21 degrees Celsius. Now I'm going to leave it fermenting longer at 18 degrees Celsius. I'd also have a tilt. I hope the battery's still good in it. Now, I left this in the garden accidentally. I tipped the fermenter out and it dropped out and didn't see it happen. And I couldn't find it anywhere. It's my tilt. Now, it sat there, I would say, 2 months before I saw it. And I blamed Cornelius. Now, if you don't know who Cornelius is, you should see some of my older videos. I blamed him, and it was me. I should have known better. Anyway, I'm dropping that guy in. He's been sanitized with sanitizer. There are a few bubbles in there, so it's going to give me a different reading. And from that, I need to now add the yeast. Just remember, these yeasts have been handled by people. We need to throw sanitizer on them, just to give it a bit of a protection before opening the packet. And then, as you can see, if you can see the yeast there, the nutrients is mixed with the yeast. So in it goes. That's one packet. And even if that packet of yeast was off, didn't work anymore, there's a second packet. The yeast from the second packet will eat the first packet anyway. And it's exactly the same. It smells just like the standard brewer's yeast, unfortunately, but it's going to be fine. That's it. We've chucked our yeast in. I am going to now pop the lid on. Now the lid is sanitized and clean. There was a little catch on this. I had a little filter on here, but it's gone. It fell off, to tell you the truth. It already has sanitizer all over. I'm just making doubly sure. And I'll throw that in. Now this system also has a probe for the temperature controller, which is something I'll put on soon. Now that the lid's on, I'm going to give this a good shake. Yeah, you don't have to, but it helps get the oxygen through. And that gives you more air, more mixture, and it's perfect. You don't have to shake it. You can actually sprinkle your yeast on top. Just leave it. It'll work. I've done brews before where I haven't dissolved the sugar. The sugar was sitting on the bottom of the actual fermenter, and I forgot about it. Popped the yeast in, chucked it in the fridge, in the temperature controller. The yeast actually ate its way through the sugar anyway. So either way, if you don't dissolve it properly, the yeast will make sure it is. All right. I'll pop my little temperature controller in. This little beauty will just sit there. I'm going to sit my fermenter over in the corner here. This shed at the moment doesn't get much higher than 16 degrees or 17 degrees Celsius because we're in the middle of winter. Now this is it here. It's ready to go. It's going to sit there for, I don't know, a good 2 weeks, I reckon, and do the job for me. The temperature controller should be working, I believe. Yep, so the temperature controller does work. It's saying it's 19.9 degrees inside. The tilt is saying, usually they're pretty accurate, pretty close. So the tilt is changing now. It's now 18.3 degrees. That's saying 20 degrees on the probe. They will equalise eventually. I'm going to set the controller. Also, the gravity has gone up. 1052. So it actually is a lot better than I thought. So there you go. We're ready. It's going to ferment. It's going to take a little bit of time. We're happy to wait for it. This is what you need to be, is patient. Make sure that you're happy with the beer. At the end, you need to do a gravity check to make sure that it's finished fermenting. How you do it is you pour it into a beacon like this, grab your beer float or gravity reader, check the gravity of your beer and then check it again in 24 hours time. If it hasn't changed, it must be finished. That's the only thing I can suggest. And when it's finished, don't just leave it. We can leave it in the fermenter so that the yeast cleans its business up. You don't have to though. It's probably best if you take it out within a week or so and bottle it. Your yeast will still be alive, and when you bottle it, it'll eat the sugars you put in, 1 to 2 teaspoons of sugar, and that'll give you your carbonation. Alright, I am coming back with a tasting on that beer, probably in 4 weeks' time, so we'll see you then. Cheers. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for subscribing. This is one of the many videos I'm going to do in Extract Brewing. I have a Mangrove Jack's Craft series brew pouch to do on the pear cider, or it's a passion fruit and peach cider. So it's not pear, it's peach, passion fruit and peach. So it's going to be an interesting one. I'm enjoying my stout. It's very good. I've got my family coming over for dinner tonight, so I've got to rack off. See you soon. Cheers.